mentioned China, and Southeast Asia is obviously very important. Let's go a little bit into China.
Sure.
I think a big news story in development has been China's involvement in Africa, their approach to aid and development, infrastructure development specifically. And now we have whispers, well, more than whispers, plans for China to get involved in two multilateral development banks, the BRICS Bank and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. What do you see as sort of, what's China trying to do here? What's their philosophical or policy priority? And how do you see this playing out, the next 2 to 5 years?
Whenever anyone asks me about what do I think China is thinking, I always say, maybe you should ask the Chinese. The question will be, well, how transparent will they be in their answers? I can't speak for the Chinese, just like I can't speak for the US government anymore. But I say to people, I think we should welcome new institutions like this proposed BRICS Bank, like this proposed Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. And one is because there remains a tremendous gap in Asia with regards to infrastructure finance. So it needs to be filled somehow. AIIB, World Bank can't be doing all these things. I mean, the reality is that if they were serious about addressing this infrastructure gap, they would improve the governance and the rule of law in their own countries, these BRICS as well as other Asian nations, and that will allow private sector capital to flow in. I mean, that's the real solution. It's not one more bureaucracy or one more institution. But I say to people, let's not be afraid of these institutions. Let's welcome them. Let's work with them. Because in many ways, Asia is rising, and that naturally will include they're wanting to have either more influence at existing institutions, and if that's not possible for political or other reasons, they will create their own institutions. I think that's part of what's going on, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. The world is changing. The world also has to adjust to the rise of China again. But let's not rule out Japan also. Everyone asks me about India. They asked me about China. Hardly anyone asked me about Japan. There was a little bit of difference when it seemed like Abenomics, the nickname for Prime Minister Abe's economic reform and liberalization program was moving forward. But it seems like that's not quite moving forward, at least in that critical aspect of reforms that was supposed to accompany the fiscal stimulus and also kind of the monetary easing that Japan is pursuing as part of this three-pronged Abenomics push.